Dr. Nandini, and I'll be presenting a case of knee flexion deformity in a case of spina bifida. So a 5-year-old male child presented to us with progressive right knee deformity in flexion with thickened and cracked skin over the anterior aspect. So this child was a known case of meningomyelocele at L3, L4 level, which was operated on the 3rd day of life. There was no record of any perioperative or preoperative neurology. He then developed a gradual progressive knee deformity in the post-op period. There was no history of any bowel bladder involvement. On presentation, the child was a crawler. He could crawl and sit without support, but because of the deformity, he was unable to stand or walk without support. Birth and development history, it was a full-term LSCS in view of a transverse lie, cried immediately after birth, and with a 10-day NICU stay. Development milestones were all attained as per usual, with the exception of motor milestones because of the deformity. So on clinical examination, there was a healed scar over the lower lumbar region from the previous surgery, and there was callosity over the anterior aspect of the right knee. He had a flexion deformity of about 100 degrees, with further flexion possible up to 130 degrees, with significant wasting of the left thigh and calf. The child could stand with support on the well leg, and overall assessment of neurology showed that the affected limb, that is the right side, had a gross power of 2 across the knee for the flexors, and a power of 1 and 2 at the ankle and EHL, FHL. The hip flexors were at a power of 3. However, knee extensor power could not be assessed in view of the deformity. So radiology, we did an MRI of the knee which showed a patella baja and secondary atrophy of the quadriceps. Since the child also had a history of spina bifida, a whole spine screening MRI was done, which suggested that there was a complete spina bifida at the L3, L4 level, with adherence of the neural plateau to the subcutaneous tissue, and there was a tethering of the cord with a new formation of a syrinx. The EMG NCV reports were, however, normal. This child was initially discussed in a multidisciplinary meeting involving the neurosurgeons, who were of the opinion that the child would need a re-tethering procedure. However, because of the risks that would entail this, the parents had denied consent for the same. So we went ahead with our orthopedic management. So from an orthopedic viewpoint, we had done a complete posterior release. That is a medial as well as a lateral hamstring release was done along with a posterior capsular release. On table, we were able to achieve a correction of the flexion deformity to about 40 degrees, and subsequently in 1 week post-op, a stretch cast was applied. This is his serial follow-up after 3 months with an almost complete correction of the right knee flexion deformity, a complete subsidence of the anterior cracked callosities over the knee, and presently the knee range was possible from 0 to 90 degrees. So currently the child is able to mobilize. He's basically on a push knee splint for support. He's able to mobilize with some brace assist, and this is the post-op X-ray. Thank you.